This is JVTV. It's Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. It's Thursday Night Football. Let's get this money, baby. The Executive Network is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hit the link in the comment section for a 100% deposit match, courtesy of the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy. Win with the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy this NFL season. All right, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Fantasy Exec, my man, Johnny VTV, coming to you on a good old Thursday night, getting ready for week 4 of the NFL season. It is getting ready to go down. JVTV, what's going on with you, brother?
Oh, Corey Parson, the fantasy exec.
You already know.
Running it back, baby. Concluding the first month of our brand new podcast. Excited. And we got a good NFC North showdown going on tonight.
Yeah, definitely an exciting game. A little bit later on in the program, talk about some of the big AFC matchups tonight. This weekend is going down. Loaded contest, loaded card in the AFC this week. We'll touch on some of those shortly. Give you some underdog fantasy advice also. If you want to get some props and some bets in, we are the gentleman that's going to help you get that done. Before we get it started, Johnny, last week ATS-wise for your fantasy executive was one to forget, not one to remember.
Yeah, me too, man. There was a lot of struggles. Really the Ravens was one I was a little surprised about. Definitely losing, of course. But, Atlanta, no show at Detroit. Dallas, no show at Arizona. There was just a few games I'm very surprised about. But listen, man, that's the kind of results that you get in the NFL. Week to week, it is very, very difficult, especially when you're dealing with these bad slates that we have. There's just not a lot of good games. And, a small handful of games convinces people that it's a great sport. But let's be honest, bro, like by and large, we're not dealing with a lot of quality on the NFL front in terms of matchups.
It's just what it is. I mean, you say this, but you got to understand that you can't get upset if you're losing your wagers and blame the sport.
No, I'm not even saying it like that. I had a good week. I had a good week in week 3, and I still said that. Like I had a good week outside of like a ridiculous Rams backdoor cover. Like I'm saying it like there's not a lot of good games going on. It is what it is, and I'm not really impressed with the product that we have on the field outside of a few players, plays, and a couple games. It's been really underwhelming thus far, and I don't know how you can argue that. And I'm talking about on a larger scale. You sit up there
and you watch it every Sunday from the time Scott Hansen come on to the time Al Michael sign off.
Yeah, but this is what we do.
Mike Tirico,
This is
don't sit
what
up
we
there
do.
And criticize it. We're heavily invested in this, and it wouldn't be so if it wasn't for a reason.
But that doesn't mean I can't criticize it if it's not good. Just as the same way, if it was great and it was really good, I'd be saying, wow, it's been amazing. We've gotten a treat, bro. I call it like it is. Like I'm still gonna watch it, and I hate myself for it. But this is the business we're in, and I tell it like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say this has been a great start to the season when in reality it hasn't for the most part.
Yeah, I really can't. You're probably on an island on that one right there. You know what I'm saying? But it is time to move ahead and move forward. And we do got a very intriguing NFC North, or my man Chris Berman would say NFC Norris matchup tonight out there in that North division. The Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers. Doesn't look like Lions and Packers of old. As a matter of fact, Johnny, this rivalry that's long time been dominated by the Green Bay Packers in the recent years has changed. Detroit Lions coming into this game are winners of 3 of the last 4 games versus the Green Bay Packers. Jared Goff and crew versus Jordan Love. Jordan Love making his first start versus the division rivals.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid Thursday night matchup.
It is.
We might not get a lot of them throughout the year, so when we do get them, we got to take advantage of it. And Green Bay off the top dealing with some key injuries. Jair Alexander is out. David Bakhtiari is out, but Christian Watson looks like he's back tonight. Same with Aaron Jones. 2 key additions to the offense. It's been a little lackluster for the most part. And Detroit dealing with Taylor Decker, their tackle being out again. I think I'm not giving out a pick, but I think this is another game that's probably going to come down to the wire. This might be a field goal at the end of the game decides it. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what Amon-Ra is going to do tonight, because that's my guy to lead the league in catches this year. And I want to see, without Jair Alexander, how the secondary of Green Bay matches up with him. That's the matchup I have my eyes on tonight.
All right, and my man Super in the chat, please, Super, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Everything over here is free, so we give you good advice. Hit that subscribe button. Do us a favor. Trade away Sutton and Monty for Ramondre. So Cortland Sutton and Monty, David Montgomery for Ramondre Stevenson in a PPR. I would really have to know what the rest of the team is. You're trading 2 for 1 in this spot right here. Montgomery is really a 0. So it's really Ramondre or Sutton for me. I mean, I don't know what you feel about I don't know, Johnny V, what you feel about Monty, if that's David Montgomery is who he's talking about. Not a priority for me. Sutton for Ramondre, depending on what your team looks like, I can see that.
I mean, yeah, it depends on what the other team looks like, but I like Ramondre Stevenson. I just don't like the fact that, you always got Zeke Elliott in the back of your mind, and this is a revenge spot for him against the Cowboys. This is the kind of game where he goes for 2 touchdowns, even if he goes for like 5 total yards, right? But Cortland Sutton's he had a good game against Miami last week.
Well, they were down 50, so
yeah. But early on, he looked good before the game really got out of hand, and there was a touchdown he dropped.
Yep.
Sutton is somebody that has a lot of talent, but just has not been able to stay on the field and never really had a solid quarterback. I probably would stay put on that one, because David Montgomery, if he's healthy, he's going to be the guy that's getting a lot of touchdowns. I mean, if Montgomery had 12, 13 rushing touchdowns this year, that really wouldn't be surprising. I mean, I don't know right now if you can pull the trigger on that.
And then you could get, actually, if you can wait past this weekend, CNB, you can probably have a better chance at trading Sutton. Broncos got a juicy matchup versus the Bears. I expect this to be a big bounce back spot for the Broncos. So Sutton can have even more value come Monday morning of next week. So hang in there. But like I said, I really don't have much problem with it. But it seems like kind of a chalky trade, or a trade to make a trade. But I really have no problem with it without seeing the full roster. Johnny V, you mentioned Christian Watson and Aaron Jones possibly, but more than likely expected to play tonight. They go right into fantasy lineups.
It depends what your roster looks like. I think you have to, especially Aaron Jones. I think you have to, because my feeling is we're probably going to see both of them on some sort of a pitch count. What that is, I don't know. But the fact is, Aaron Jones can score from anywhere on the field, bro. Aaron Jones, even in a bad game, can get you 10, 12 points.
Lions' run defense been good, but I agree Aaron Jones is.
But he gets it in the pass game too.
Exactly, gets it in the passing game as well. Yeah.
I think yes, Christian Watson. If you have no better options, you could slot him in. But if you're pretty set at receiver and in the flex, I probably would hold off a week just to see what we're going to work with, because after this game, they have another 10 days to get ready. And, maybe they ramp up his workload a little bit. So I'm a little bit more cautious about Watson, just because, a lot of times if he doesn't get that deep ball like he did last year, I don't know how much production he's going to give you.
All right, there you go right there. Speaking of which, I can tell you who's not going to give you any production, A.J. Dillon. Listen, like, to the point of the year where Aaron Jones is back and we don't got to put A.J. Dillon on lineups no more, but what a dog, a DOG dog, discussing performances while he was the man. So was Khalif Raymond. DFS purposes, I wouldn't even be looking to those two guys tonight, but I will run a showdown optimizer in a little bit to get us going into that one. All right, Johnny, let's look at some of these marquee matchups we got coming up on the slate this week. And I'll be honest with you, Johnny. I did not expect this line movement in Ravens and Browns to go this way. It opened up with the Cleveland Browns, a 1.5 favorite, now pushed up all the way on the DraftKings Sportsbook to the Browns being a 3-point favorite. This, to me, is a tight matchup. People can say, well, the Browns look great this year, and they beat the Ravens the last couple of times they played them. They beat them without Lamar Jackson. They beat Tyler Huntley's Ravens, not Lamar Jackson's Ravens. As a matter of fact, Lamar Jackson has been dominant versus the Browns. JV, this, to me, is a spot right here where this game is going to come down to quarterback play. Give me LJ for one of his better weeks of the season.
This is a tough one for me. I haven't made my Circa picks, believe it or not, for this week. I have a couple I have my eye on. The lines are already out for Circa. And some spots you get the Ravens at 3, and it's so tempting. Baltimore off a bad loss at home against a division rival. It sounds good, right? but there's just something holding me back that I want to take Cleveland. And, Deshaun Watson played great last week. The Browns played a great game against the Titans, who front seven is pretty good overall. Their secondary is not good, but something about this game is telling me to take Cleveland. I think the way Indianapolis was able to hold the Ravens offense in check, look at what Cleveland's defense is doing. Cleveland has an unreal defense at the moment. And I think there's a real scenario where they bottle up Baltimore's offense to the point where it's almost a repeat of what we saw against Indianapolis. So early lean right now is probably to the Browns, especially if you're getting it inside a field goal. That's a gut feeling. I know it's all Baltimore off a loss kind of thing, but just something about this matchup tells me that Cleveland might be the right side. Nothing official yet, but that's where my lean is and what I'm looking at thus far.
The steam is definitely moving in that direction right there. So I can listen. Like I said, I'm gonna stick with Lamar and the Ravens, but I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Another marquee matchup in the AFC this weekend. Now you may not think this is marquee, but this actually is a very good matchup right here. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Pittsburgh a 2.5-point favorite. It is their second straight road game. That Houston Texans team, though, well coached by DeMeco Ryans, well quarterbacked by C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They've kind of been one of the early stories to start the season, while the Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of optimism on them this year. They get the victory over the Raiders, but I think a lot of people are thinking that Houston can go ahead and maybe not even covering is one thing, but maybe Houston can win the game. I'm on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I think Houston coming off a big win, I'd say emotional win, but they went into Jacksonville as a 9-point underdog, at least on the open, and they win outright. Not only did they win, they blew them out. They controlled from the opening kickoff the entire game. They were getting some ridiculous plays. A fullback takes a kickback for a touchdown. Like, what scenario are we seeing that in this day and age, bro? Like, C.J. Stroud, he looks really good. Like, he definitely, through 3 games, looks like the best quarterback out of that class. Too early to tell because Anthony Richardson got hurt. And, Stroud's numbers may be a little inflated just because of the amount of times he's throwing. The volume is there for him. Not taking anything away from him because I love what he's doing. I'm a big fan of watching C.J. Stroud right now. I think it's a bit of a letdown spot if you're Houston, even though they're underdogs, just based on the win they had. Pittsburgh's defense looks pretty good thus far. Obviously, Devontae Adams had his way because he's Tay, bro. Tay's a dog, D-A-W-G. I do think this is a spot for Pittsburgh. I probably won't officially give anything out on this, but I more than likely would just take the money line with the Steelers, lay the $1.48. I'm not interested in getting involved with the spread. I don't love Kenny Pickett. I hate betting on Kenny Pickett, but the defense has just been that good. TJ Watt has just looked like a guy who is on his way to the Hall of Fame. I think the Steelers, for me, would be the side straight up.
Keeping it in the AFC, obviously this run right here, the marquee matchup. We just saw the Miami Dolphins drop 70. Most people's power rankings have the Miami Dolphins as the top team in the NFL. They get a test this weekend. They go up to Western New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. The 2.5 is juiced up to -118 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Buffalo has dominated Miami in recent years. Tough one right here, JVTV. Everybody wanted the toughest thing to do in sports betting, Johnny, is to forget what you just saw last week. So with that being said, this is the Buffalo Bills spot. Maybe a Steelers-Bills money line parlay. That one right there is going to be a sweat if you do that, though.
Yeah, we've been betting against Miami all year. I have, and it's making me
don't do it this week. Yeah,
let's be honest. The Patriots game, that was just unfortunate, right? They had a shot to win at the end of the game. The Chargers, also unfortunate. We've been on the wrong side of like close coin flip games at the end. I think this might be a spot to how bad I want to take Miami. You look at what they've done, bro. They lost 11 of their last 13 against this Buffalo Bills team.
Yeah.
But they've lost. They haven't won in Buffalo since, I believe, 2016. Their last 2 losses were 3-point losses at Buffalo. I'm not sold on the Miami defense. I'm really not.
You're not the only one that feels that way.
I may do it one more time, and you know what? If it blows up in my face, that's what happens.
Pause.
No, we're not pausing. I'm not
No,
pausing.
no.
You
But
know what?
you know.
We don't have to over-sexualize everything. It's not meant to be like that. We're not over-sexualizing everything. It's not coming off like that. Stop. We did the same thing with take the small, lay the big. No.
Well, okay.
In any case, I
go
think
ahead.
one more time, I'm going to go against Miami. I'm going to take Buffalo because I think Buffalo is the better overall team. You include offense and defense and special teams. I'm just not sold on the Dolphins defense. Maybe they blew their load, dropping a 70-point game against Denver. I know you're laughing at that one. That one I did on purpose. But I just think, Buffalo's defensive game plan is probably going to mirror somewhat of what New England did to Tyreek Hill with the too high look. You got Jalen Waddle back this week. I feel like this is going to be some points in this one. But ultimately, I'd probably take Buffalo on the money line. No interest in the spread. And again, I'd probably lay the $1.50 one more time against Miami.
You how you talk about betting against Miami? I've been there with you. You know that, right? And I've also been there, not just this year, but last year too. I was stupid enough to continue to throw my money on the Raiders. But this week, Johnny, oh yeah.
Yeah,
the Las Vegas Raiders. They go to They go to Los Angeles.
Why?
Take on the Chargers.
Why?
And I'm back on the Raiders again.
Why?
Plus 5.5. The Royal Mint, baby.
We don't play the players. We play the number. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo, he does not matter. He'll be bagging groceries this week when he's not playing with his concussion. I wish him well. I don't want him to get hurt, but I think the Raiders can go into LA, a place a team they've had some success against. Even though Josh McDaniels is as useless as Brandon Staley is, it's a matchup of clueless head coaches. I got to play the Royal Mint. I think last week was the first time it didn't come home, which was Carolina in Seattle, which it didn't hit, but Carolina had a shot. Carolina was there at the end. They were late in the game. They were driving. Every time they tried to call a play, it was a false start, which I don't know if I buy. Every time the ref wanted to call a false start every single time. It didn't hit, but they were there at the end. They had a shot. I think the Raiders, even with a backup quarterback, correct me if I'm wrong, is Jared Stidham still the guy under center for backup?
No, Stidham is gone.
Who's the backup?
Stidham is in Denver. I'm not sure who the back. I think they're going with there's probably Brian Hoyer or somebody like that. One of them dudes that they're comfortable with running that offense.
To me, dude, it doesn't matter. We take the 5.5 anyway. We don't play the players. We play the system. So
there you go. I'm taking.
Give me the Raiders 5.5. That'll probably be
and I'm gonna hit the money line as well. Hey Isaac, what's your favorite prop for Buffalo, Miami? Josh Allen. What is the Josh Allen prop? Josh Allen over 35.5 pass attempts. This is a number that Josh Allen in the last 8 games that his number has been 35.5. He's cleared it 5 times. And obviously in this matchup versus Miami, you could expect a lot of passing. So I'll go with that Josh Allen passing attempt prop. Luka Magic, Isaac C, hit that subscribe button. Luka Magic, start 2 half-point PPR. Josh Downs, Brandon Cooks, Rico Duato, and Josh Reynolds. Is this a 16-team league? What are we doing? We're not even the bye weeks yet. Why are we worried about Josh Downs and Brandon Cooks and Rico Duato and Josh Reynolds? Man, this is a nasty one right here. Start 2.5-point PPR. I would, Josh Reynolds is with everybody. Ooh, boy, this is a nasty one. I would just go Downs and Cooks. What do you think, JV?
I can't start Cooks right now. He just doesn't look right. Sprained MCL. It's got me all messed up. In a positive game script for Dallas last week, he really didn't do much.
Nothing.
Josh Reynolds coming off a game where he pretty much wasn't even used.
Yeah. DOG dog.
Yeah. Maybe we give Reynolds a shot tonight because I do think when healthy, Reynolds was battling an injury. I think that's why. But Reynolds, when he's healthy, is the clear number 2 behind Amon-Ra in that offense. So maybe you give him a shot tonight, Thursday night, steal a tutty, and then take a shot on Josh Downs. He's getting some looks. He's getting a lot of run, and he's kind of solidifying himself behind Michael Pittman as the number 2. So I probably would take a shot there.
All right, let's get ready to head on over to the Odds Jam Optimizer and look at some of their favorite plays tonight over on Underdog Fantasy. Don't forget, if you're not down with Underdog Fantasy, you can do so. Click the link in the description of this video, and they will match your initial deposit all the way up to $100. All right, JV, let me get your thoughts on some of these right here. AJ Dillon, a dog, under 9 rush attempts. I would say that is a lower than 9 rush attempts. I would say that's going to cash because I would not put him nowhere near the field.
I would probably say that too. The one thing that concerns me is how much is Aaron Jones going to be used tonight. But I probably would say Jones gets somewhere between like 8 and 12 rushing attempts. So let's go lower on AJ Dillon.
Jared Goff, pass attempts under 35.5. Not something I would take to the window. Lower than 35.5.
I probably wouldn't take that to the window either. If we could stay away from it, I would, because I think Montgomery's going to get some work tonight, so I'd probably go lower.
Christian Watson, first game back, making his season debut. Optimizer over at OddsJam, lower than 3.5 receptions. First game back for Watson.
I would say lower.
Yeah, I don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Listen, getting out there, getting familiar with the offense. Well, he's familiar with the offense, but getting familiar with the new quarterback. I don't see that. Jahmyr Gibbs, higher than 7.5 rushing attempts. This one right here, I can't take to the window. I would like him to get that number, but really, have we seen that yet?
Well, besides last week?
Yeah.
I mean, besides last week, no. Like Dan Campbell acts like this guy doesn't even exist. I mean, he's giving him the DeAndre Swift treatment. If you look at the first 2 games with Montgomery in the lineup, he had 7 carries apiece. And then last week as the bell cow, he had 17 carries, went for 80 yards, a healthy 4.7 yards per carry, clearly the better back. Just because I love Gibbs, and I just, it's so hard for me not to see him on the field. Let's take the higher on that one.
All right, let's go. Luke Musgrave, reception fantasy stat line set at 3. We going higher or lower on the Green Bay Packers tight end?
I'm going higher. You saw Kyle Pitts was working that secondary last week. He was open many times, but Desmond Ridder is an absolute disaster. So therefore, he didn't cash in a lot of those opportunities. I think Musgrave is one of the very popular DFS tight end streamers this week in a solid matchup. I think Musgrave could end up something like 5-6 catches, maybe get a tutty, be in the red zone look. I think Musgrave's a solid play tonight.
All right. Let me see. Go ahead and set up this right here. Here, as Dion's on to say, here. And get this optimizer going over here. All right, we're not gonna do the optimizer. Not gonna load. Listen, I won't give you no love. You know, don't play with the fantasy executive. You know what I'm saying, JV? I ain't got time for the foolishness. You know what I mean? All right, but let me get over here right here and let's look at a showdown slate for tonight's matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. This optimizer right here is from my people over at new company I'm working with, Sportstopia. Matter of fact, I'm about to hop into spaces for them over there on X at the top of the hour as soon as we get up out of here. So let's see. Run a quick lineup right quick, showdown slate. Check this one out right here, JV. Luke Musgrave, Jordan Love, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, David Montgomery, Jaden Reed.
I think that's pretty solid. I think Jaden Reed's another one of those sleepers, depending on how much Christian Watson plays. Reed's a guy who is gaining a little bit of respect in this offense. Caught a touchdown against the Falcons. Playmaker. I think Reed's a solid one of those bargain players that, he can make or break a lineup. If he has like a 15-point night, that could be enough to kind of propel you into some really good money. I think that's a solid lineup. Reynolds is another X factor. If he doesn't see the field a lot, if he doesn't get a lot of targets, or we're dealing with this injury still, then that could be a bust for your lineup. But if he kind of gets back to the guy that we saw in week 1 and 2, then he's kind of like a Reed type. But we know when he's healthy, Reynolds is a guy that should see a decent amount of targets.
Another play from another showdown slate lineup from the Contrarian Edge optimizer over there at Sportstopia. Jaden Reed in the captain spot, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, David Montgomery, and Luke Musgrave. You got 2 titans in this one with your boy Laporta and Musgrave. I know you're a Laporta guy.
Yeah, I like Laporta. I'm kind of upset to the point where, like, Is Laporta what we were hoping TJ Hawkinson was going to be as a rookie? Remember all the buzz we had of Hawkinson coming out of Iowa? Like he's the next big thing. He's going to have a monster year as a rookie. And it was okay for a rookie. But like, is Laporta going to be that guy that we were hoping Hawkinson was? Maybe. Laporta's looked good. He's getting a lot of these flat routes, the check downs, kind of a security blanket for Jared Goff. He had that touchdown in that really well-designed play against Atlanta last week. I wouldn't expect that every week, but Laporta seems to be a guy. His usage is increasing. He looks more comfortable, and the targets and the volume and just all his productivity is starting to trend upwards. This is a player that might end up being a steal, especially at such a shallow position. So I'm a big Laporta guy in this offense.
All right, let's bring it home, JVTV. I am going with the Detroit Lions. Take them on the money line. I think they get the win tonight on the road at Lambeau Field.
Yep, I'm with you here. I like Detroit. I'm staying off the spread, although my father would always say in a divisional game, you take the home team getting 2 or 2.5. I'm going to ignore my old man tonight. We'll see. I think the Detroit Lions pick this one up. But my official plays will be Amon-Ra St. Brown over 71.5 receiving yards and ARSB over 6.5 receptions. I'm looking for a big night from the Sun God.
All right, there you go right there. St. Brown getting it done for JVTV. Isaac, before we get up out of here, do you play Watson tonight or wait? I just traded Garrett Wilson for Watson. It's not I got a high stakes team with Garrett Wilson. It's very scary. Need to know if I play him. I got Landon and Mims. I don't know who Landon is. Who the fuck is Landon? Would I play Watson or wait? If I need to know if I play him, I got Landon and Mims. First game back. It's really depending on what the rest of your roster looks like. Like if you don't play Watson, if you playing Landon or Mims, I would go ahead and play Watson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Marvin Mims is not a guy.
Drake London. Oh, it's Drake London. Okay.
It's London. No, I'm not playing London. No, Arthur Smith has no desire to play his star players and get them the rock. They don't like to throw the ball. London is obviously a better choice, but Watson, dude, even on a pitch count, I think Watson still could have a decent night if he catches you. Your best bet, though, you're looking for him maybe to get a touchdown in the red zone or break one of those 50, 60 yarders that he's capable of. That's what you're looking at. And one thing about Jordan Love, Corey, he's throwing the rock downfield. And that bodes really well for Watson if he can get past this Detroit secondary that really isn't that good.
Yep, no doubt. Don't forget, everybody, we'll be back here tomorrow. Big bets, myself and Johnny V. Get you ready. Go through the big Sunday slate. Get you ready for that. And then Sunday morning, we get you ready for kickoff right here. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, for my man JVTV. Good luck on out to everybody who's hopped in the chat. We are out. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the game.